Welcome back to another episode of Daily Entrepreneur. Again, Nakarawa Kamalapil, and this is the Solution Series. Today, we are introducing a new series called The Creative Entrepreneur. This is where we'll be speaking to creative across the country, across industries, and getting a glimpse of their entrepreneurship journey. On today's episode, I am so excited because we are talking all things luxury and magic. You guessed it right. We're speaking about the Luxurious Marble Circus Festival. The festival is set to promise a fantastical fusion of award-winning food, delectable drinks, and excellent music talent. It is a 2-day festival set to take place at Grant, the venue, on the 26th and 27th of September 2026. Before we get into it, let me introduce the right person who's going to tell us more about this festival. To kickstart the Creative Entrepreneur series, I am joined by Byars. He is the CEO and partner at Grid Worldwide. He is a creative entrepreneur and one of the speakers for the consortium that puts together the Luxurious Marble Circus and the Magical Marble Family Fest. Welcome to Daily Entrepreneur, Mr. Adam.
Thank you. It's amazing to be here.
How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm
good. I'm excited to have you here today. So we are speaking Luxurious Marble Circus. I just want you to tell us, for someone who've never heard of Luxurious Marble Circus, how will you describe it in one sentence?
Sure. Think of it not as a festival.
Okay.
Think of it as something that you can only imagine, something magical, as you had said, something whimsical.
Yeah.
But also, I just think of it as a big celebration of all things South African.
Yeah.
And then you overlay luxury, you overlay a deep-rooted experience, you overlay brand collaborations, you overlay entertainment, you overlay Gauteng weather, which is generally sunny and it's amazing.
Yes.
And you pull that together into, as I said, like a magical, whimsical experience.
Yeah.
So, the circus in itself is like nothing that exists.
Never heard of before.
When you go back to the origins of the circus, it was there to defy the tensions of existing festivals, which are generally long queues, porta toilets, plastic cups and wooden chairs and places to sit and dusty.
Yeah.
So we try to break all those conventions and really cater for 6,000-7,000 people, that every single person, no matter what ticket you get, gets a luxury experience.
Sure.
Yeah.
And the word itself, Luxurious Marble Circus, it's so unusual. How will you describe that, in putting it as a brand for the festival?
Yeah, so I mean, if you had to break it up, you've got the Luxurious Marble Circus. So, as soon as you put the word luxury into a title, you've got to live up to that in every possible way, in execution, in the experience, in the brands that are involved, in what people expect, in terms of the delivery. And then you take the marble group. Marble is synonymous with luxury. It's synonymous with high-end hospitality.
Yeah.
That's everything from marble to saint to zoo. And now when you could look at things like pantry, which is the convenience, fancy but easy, it's still a luxury deli, confectionery experience. So when you put them all together, and then, the final word with the circus. So the traditions of a circus is you have a ringmaster, and the ringmaster brings all different animal acts together and they do amazing things, and it's generally in a circus tent, and everybody for that moment feels like they're a family. Everybody feels like the ringmaster is the person that's bringing everyone together. So you take the Luxurious Marble Circus, just put 3 different properties that ordinarily wouldn't live together, and that's where the Marble Circus name came from.
And make it one thing. What inspired the creation of LMC?
Look, the original story behind it was, listen, if Marble was to host a picnic, what would it look like?
Yeah.
And if they were going to host an outdoor picnic, an outdoor lunch, an outdoor event, what would it look like? And that was the real inspiration. That was where it started. But I think if you go back to, when the brief came to Grid has been Marble's brand agency from inception, the Marble Group. So we've been working with them for over 10 years. And I think Grid in itself is a luxury creative agency. Everything that we do, you come to the offices, the experience and the brands that we work on, you know, we take a huge amount of pride in curating and building these brands over time, and nothing luxury happens overnight.
Sure.
It takes a long time. So the inspiration was that, I think, again, if you take the three entities in the Marble Group, G&G, who are no one's better in terms of the precision and execution, and delivery of the event, and you take Grid as a big brand storytelling creative agency, it was just it was the dream team.
Sure. So when we speak luxury, who are your target market specifically for LMC?
I think everybody. You know, again, I've this is the season 3's coming up in September. You know, many clients say to us, clients that are part of the festival in itself and those that are not part of the circus always say to us, who's the target market? I don't think there's one specific target market, because if you go there, you're going to see an 18-year-old group of 18-year-olds, a group of 25-year-olds. You're going to see a group of 18, 35, 45-year-olds hanging together, and you're going to see a couple that are in their 70s that are just sitting in the sun and enjoying the food and enjoying the ambience, enjoying the people. And I remember the first year I walked around, I went to this couple that was sitting on the grass, and they looked so comfortable, and they had a bottle of champagne there. The sun was beating down on them, and they were just so happy. And I said to them, and they didn't know who I was, I just said, you know, what brings you here? And they said, it's our first date in 25 years.
Wow.
And they felt this was the right thing. So the Marble Circus is there for every South African or everybody to enjoy. No matter what your age is, you will find your experience within a huge array of experiences, and you have some people that don't leave the fantastical forest. You have some people that don't leave the main stage area. You have some people that don't leave the
just
marble
stay in
tent.
one area.
You know, you have some people that don't leave the uncaged carousel or the pantry area or the tasting station, and then you have those that just explore and go through everything.
You were speaking about you guys are coming back for the third time now in our country. How has the growth been, and what stand out for you as one of the collaborators, you know, in the business perspective? Look,
I mean, the growth has been incredible. So we really are blessed. But if you ask why there's been the growth, I think it was the precision and the excellence in execution of the event. So that for me would be the first thing. I think the second thing would be the consortium that it's made up of, you know, possibly one of the best production eventing teams on the continent in G&G. Marble Hospitality, or the Marble Group, no one is better than. They built an empire in terms of luxury entertainment and hospitality in the country. And then Grid is 20 years old. We've built ourselves as a, you know, credible creative agency.
One of the leading agencies,
And then I think the third thing would have to be the sponsors. You know, Investec, they came on board in the beginning, and they've worked with us. They've been an incredible client to work with. You know, they've never asked us for a whole lot of presence branding. They've been more about this deep-rooted experience and an immersive experience. And then all the other brand collaborators that came on board, you know, everything from Diageo, you know, all of the Heineken group, everybody that came on board from the beginning, and it's just grown from there. And I think the real secret for me was everybody understood the rules of the Luxurious Marble Circus and what we're trying to achieve. So each of the brands amplified their own brand experience within the guardrails and the landscape of what the circus was. So there was a heavy investment in creating these really, really deep-rooted immersive experiences for consumers.
So just to add on to what you're saying, I actually have a two-part question. The first one, I want to know, especially after the last year one, there was a lot of demand, I can imagine. I mean, you guys trended for a long time. So will you say you guys keep coming back because, one, there's a demand, and when you're speaking about Investec, what inspires you, or what do you look for when it comes to sponsorship?
Look, I think the demand, we have an ambition as a consortium to build what I believe is South Africa or Africa's own Coachella or Tomorrowland. This is not a property that we sort of say, listen, the first year worked okay, second year was
Let's
better.
see how it goes.
You know, we heavily invested in a 5-10 year growth of the property itself. You can obviously the breakaway into the luxury, into the family festival. Then the second thing is, from a sponsorship point of view, you know, when you look at Investec and their positioning is out of the ordinary. The whole Luxurious Marble Circus was out of the ordinary, so it really played very well to what their brand stood for. And I think what we look for in brand collaborators is those that can that understand the curation of a customer experience, and those that really want to bring it to life. And the thing is that, you know, luxury does not have to be for a fortunate few.
Yeah.
Luxury in this essence is about luxury fun and accessibility to every South African.
And it caters for everyone.
It caters for everyone.
Yeah,
and then when you extend it into the family fest, whilst we don't necessarily have the word luxury in the name, a Magical Marble Family Fest, it's going to be a luxury family festival. So the DNA of what we created in Luxurious Marble Circus will extend itself into the Family Fest itself in terms of the way that we execute and deliver the Family Fest.
Sure, and we are about to see the first edition of the Marble Family Fest. Tell us about that. What brought that idea and what inspired you guys to actually say we want to cater for mummies, for daddies, and for kids?
Look, there were two things. There was the demand after the first Luxurious Marble Circus was that we got many requests. Can we do this for families? So it was the audience that said, can you extend this into the family environment? And then the second one was our sponsor, was our title sponsor, Investec.
Yeah.
You know, they very focused on generational wealth.
Yes.
So when you talk to, you know, what does a youth banking proposition look like to your grandparents? Everybody's catered for. So. If you go back to year one on the Luxurious Marble Circus in itself, the two biggest requests are how do you extend this to families and include kids? I think many kids on the first one, when we launched the first Luxurious Marble Circus, there was a golden ticket.
Yes.
There was a golden bar that you could buy at Pantry. And when kids unfortunately found out that this was not for under 18s, there was huge level of disappointment around that.
Can you imagine?
So in year two, it was a no-brainer for us to look at a family fest. But yeah, I think, you know, aligning to what people's needs are, I don't think there is a bigger family festival in South Africa. I know there are very much smaller ones. Schools run it. A lot of the telcos and some of the banks have actually
we
got
have
their
Rand Easter show.
Rand Easter show. Yeah. But this is different. You know, this is really bringing the fanfare of a festival and an entertainment. You know, there's a huge Ferris wheel. There's another big stage. There is the first time we bought our own and building our own double carousel that's coming to the Family Fest. So there's going to be something for everyone.
Sure. So, and I was going to ask you what is different with this festival comparing to the other ones, but I think you just answered that. I just want to know, you are catering for all ages.
For the Family Fest.
For the Family Fest, yes. What activities can people expect when they come to the festival?
So the Family Fest is catering from 0 to 85. To 100. Any of those that have got the energy to attend,
you can come and have fun
and feel the vibe. You can come have fun. So you know, we have to cater for the many families have babies, so we're catering for them in many different ways. There's going to be breastfeeding pods. There's going to be sleeping stations for those that are younger than a toddler. For toddlers itself, there is for the girls. There's going to be face painting. There's going to be mini spa areas. There's going for the young boys, you know, there's Nerf gun zones. There is a big one of Fanta are bringing a big Xbox experience, a big gaming experience. And then, you know, you've also got to cater for the teens. You've got the Swifties. So how do you cater for them? If you've been to any school festival, every kid and every family member loves the live band. So on the main, there's going to be two stages actually. There's a main stage, and then there's a stage more into the forest area of Ethel Gray Park. And they just, you know, the mapping is going to be incredible. The way the stage is going to evolve from day to night is going to be, you know, exactly like Luxurious Marble Circus. You know, we've got Anele as the fairy godmother, so she's hosting what we'd call all the explorers, all that attend. There's the Explorer Suite for those that just want a location that they can spend the day, and they can then their kids can go there and they can go there. So, you know, there's a hell of a lot that's going to be happening.
Sure. When we speak about stages, what kind of music are we doing, or are we looking to get now that it's quite different from the Luxurious Marble Circus, and we catering for age 0 to 85, but what music do you guys want to focus on?
Look, there's not, we've brought back DJ Fresh, all of us that go back many years with DJ Fresh when he was on the radio and when he was gigging around the country. And, we've got, so we're going to cater for everyone. There's a band that's going to be sing many different cover songs. So it's not like, when you go to Luxurious Marble Circus, there's a very specific genre that just builds and builds. Here, with 2 different stages, we've got what I believe is just possibly South Africa's best lineup and best talent that gets the opportunity, including Sanel, musician, including DJ Zinhle,
yes,
including Good Luck. They've recently also just had a little baby, so they understand what it means now to be a family. So, I think the whole thing is just about celebrating family. And, if you go back to the essence of Luxurious Marble Circus, it's about luxurious fun.
Yeah.
If you go to the family fest, it's about quality time as a family.
As a family.
And that's the two, the essence of how these two differentiate. But at the end of the day, it's going to be a luxurious family entertainment in every possible way.
Sure. And I can imagine that, putting something like this, it can be a lot of work. What goes behind the scenes that people might not know?
Look, from it's a 12-month-a-year project. Now that we've got 2, we've got the Luxurious Marble Luxurious Marble Circus, and then we've got the Magical Marble Family Fest. It's a 12-month-a-year. So, you've got a grid team that's 30, 40 people work on it. You've got a G&G team that's over 30, 40 people, including suppliers. You've got the marble team that's as big. And then I think on the day of LMC, you've got over 2,000 staff members, including waiters and everybody that delivers something for a memorable experience. So it's like running an F1 team, to be completely honest. There are so many different components that make up this big spectacle in itself.
When curating something as magical as this, I can imagine what you guys will have to put together. What comes to your mind, with you and your team, and what makes you guys stand out and sell this property to the people who are interested in attending an event like this?
Look, I think passion's got to be the number one ingredient. Like, if you're not passionate about what you're doing, I don't think you're ever going to be great at it.
True.
So passion has got to be the thing that drives you. I think the second thing is the word curation. We try and curate. As I said, we've really taken a lot of time in studying the tensions and some of the blind spots of what traditional festivals are, long queues, accessibility to food, accessibility to bars and drinks and that kind of thing. And then just, a space to be, so the curation of bringing all these different elements together in terms of hospitality, in terms of entertainment, in terms of the location, in terms of parking, the big storytelling, and how do you transfer a story that you've seen for many months on socials, and how do you then bring that big idea to life on the stages and through the different brand experiences. So curation and craftsmanship for me are the real essence of what brings it together. And curation in execution, curation in food, the curation in the music, the curation in the decor, the curation in the stands, and everything. So passion, curation, and precision and execution for me are the 3 primary ingredients.
How did you know that this is what people want?
We didn't, to be completely honest. I'd be lying if there was an insight that said. But what we did understand was that South Africa, you've got incredible properties, like Ultra, which is a big musical, big, biggest music, biggest talent around the world comes. But we did feel that, and if you look at the shifts and the trends in the market, because people are spending so much time on their phones and on social media, people are longing for real connections. They're longing for real intimate experiences and immersive experiences.
And being outside can give you that.
And especially in Johannesburg, we have, it comes on the back end of winter. It's in spring, generally LMC. Family Fest is going into autumn. So the weather should be great. And there's nothing better than a winter's day, with the sun beating down in Gauteng. So, I think, you've got to So what was the insight? There was always a white space, and we never wanted
Yeah.
to compete with what existed.
Yeah.
The big focus for us and the big advice I can give any creative entrepreneur is find the white space and spend a lot of time seeking what that white space is.
It is.
And in this space in itself, we took luxury, we took entertainment, and we took festival, and
Put
we
it together.
created,
Yeah.
what these two properties are today.
And I think you've done great, because to cater for every single South African, that is great. I mean, when you go to the festival, there's nothing that you will not find. Different kinds of food, drinks, music,
And
you know,
people, I
and
think,
people.
the most fascinating thing for me and the greatest joy that we is just everybody for that moment that you're at and I hope it translates into the family fest as well. But if you can speak about the Luxurious Marble Circus, is that for that moment, everybody accepts everybody for what they're wearing, for who they are, their background, their race, no matter what it is. Everybody just comes together as one. And for me, that's like the real South Africa's back, and the real Rainbow Nation, and we're moving all in the same direction. We're all having same level of fun. And to see that, to feel the euphoria and the evolution of that kind of energy is absolutely incredible.
And the energy
You
is
feel
just
it.
out of this world.
Yeah.
Sure. So speaking about the Marble Family Fest, it falls on Mother's Day.
Yes.
Do you
yes.
guys have something special for mommies on that particular day?
Yeah, we do. I mean, it's the 9th and 10th of May. The 9th is going close to 5,000 tickets already sold, which is
Sure.
on the Saturday.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would encourage everyone, for every man or every dad,
Uncle,
or every
aunt,
husband,
this is
it's
for
a
you.
real stress. What are we going to do for
Yeah.
Mother's Day? Because moms always have an expectation.
Yeah.
So I don't think you could do anything better than attend the family fest. It's
Sure.
going to be absolutely
Amazing.
magical, and I think there's, as a parent myself, I always say to my wife, nothing gives me more joy at the end of the weekend than just seeing your kids happy and
And
content.
having fun. Yeah.
And they're just exhausted from the amount of fun that they've had. And sometimes when you don't feel you've had as fun weekend, you feel you've cheated your kids in some way. So
Yeah.
I can only encourage, we've got a good few restaurants around.
Yeah.
But we're going 100, 1,000 times bigger than any other family
Sure.
restaurants can,
Sure.
can deliver on a daily experience. And sometimes those restaurants deliver on a magical experience for your kids and your family. So take that and times it by 1,000 and you'll get the magical Marble Family Fest in itself.
Earlier on, you spoke about, you welcome kids of all ages. Someone who is not even a year old and they're going to be there. Do we have like a little privacy or a quiet space for them? I mean, kids, when they want to nap, they've been running around the whole day. Are you guys also looking at catering
There's
for?
provision for that. There's even provision for
Amazing.
breastfeeding stations, those napping stations. But to your point, that's
You really
probably
are
more
going
for,
all out.
Yeah, for babies. I think again, and when we were chatting outside, there's a level of nervousness going into the family
Can
fest. Don't get me wrong,
imagine.
because if you look at what Marble Group does, what Grid does, and what G&G do, we can execute over 18 experiences really well.
Yeah.
Thankfully, we're all parents that are sitting on the board and that make up the consortium. But it's the first time we've all delved very deeply into what a family experience looks like.
Yeah.
So it's like year one of LMC.
Yeah.
People didn't know what they were buying into. We didn't know what we were really delivering.
Yeah.
We only had a vision and an ideal of what we wanted to deliver, and the layers to, safety is a big thing. It's a massive, massive thing.
It is.
Which is a huge consideration. We've made a lot of provision for that. Making sure, just little things that when kids go to, we also want kids to feel comfortable and safe enough for parents to, hey, you go to that ice cream station on your own. So what they will be is little stairs.
Okay.
That will go up to where they can order so that they feel, independent and accessible.
And kids love that.
And they love that, I know my kids want to choose, that we can't choose for them. So there's just all these little provisions that make sure that kids, toddlers, teenagers are catered for in every possible way.
Sure. For someone who's still deciding whether they want to attend LMC or MMFF, what would you say to them?
Well, listen, try do both if you can.
If you can.
Try do both. But
And
listen,
do both days. And do both days.
This year for LMC, it's the first time we're introducing the weekend pass.
Yes.
because believe it or not, the 2 days are energetically different.
Okay,
Even
tell us a little bit about
yeah,
that.
the entertainment is slightly different.
Okay.
All I'm going to say this year for LMC, it's the first time we're bringing an international act. We've been very, very clear about not ever relying on the talent to draw the crowd, because it's more around this experience and coming together. This year we're bringing an international act, and we're also bringing, I don't want to say the name as yet, but
you will have to buy the tickets to know.
So he recently played at South Africa's South Africa's newest superstar. He played at Coachella on the weekend, and he's going to be joining us for the first time. So listen, if you want to go to LMC, you're going to go there because you just want to experience a complete energetic euphoria in every possible way. And if you want to, you really want a luxury experience, then go to LMC, because you will get it.
You will get it.
If you're deciding on Family Fest and you're not sure, you have a family, I've got many people that have said, listen, LMC feels a lot, so I'd prefer to go to Family Fest, and they don't necessarily have kids. You're going to have a magical time without kids, because many adults want to go to fanfare, they want to go to funfair parks and like amusement parks. So coming out of the first LMC, the two biggest requests were, can we do something for families? And can we add more fanfare entertainment to LMC? Hence last year we introduced the Ferris wheel. This year we'll introduce the double carousel. Adults also want to
have fun,
feel like kids. Yeah, we all want to go back and feel like a kid again.
Yeah. Was the different venues intentional? I mean,
very.
LMC, it's at a much bigger venue because you are catering for a bigger crowd, and then now the Family Fest, it's like it's at a park, so to say.
So the intention at the ground for Luxurious Marble Circus was, we wanted to take people to a destination.
Sure.
We didn't want them to go somewhere and then they could easily just veer off to, Melville or Parkhurst or something. We wanted you to go there, and that's where you were going to stay, and that's where we were going to entertain you. Yeah. And then you would safely get back. Now, we know it's a bit of a drive, but it's never been a big issue. People have loved it. The tourism sector around Mulder's Drift has benefited. Most of the rooms are sold out, most of the guest farms are sold out, and I think the LMC in itself has started to build a real big tourism economy around it, which is incredibly important for the country. Enabling and the growth of our country and employment are big things for us in terms of the purpose and the legacy piece that sits behind LMC. And then Family Fest, we couldn't expect kids and families to drive 40-50 minutes out.
Sure. Fair.
So hence we did Ethel Gray Park, which is just next to Melrose Arch. It's pretty Joburg North Central.
Especially after a day filled of fun. Kids don't want to be on the road
and there are
for
many
too
access
long.
points. Mulder's Drift is one way in and one way out. Two very, two distinct ways of getting in and out. But you can't do that for the Family Fest, So now you've got different access points off the highway, off Melrose Arch, off Ethel Gray, that whole area. So you had to make it quite accessible. And to your point, kids are going to be sleeping on the way home.
So speaking, you touch a little bit about what the festival does for our country. Do you know the impact it does when it comes to the economy of the country?
Look, we've run the studies. There's a big sustainability report that, let me take a step back.
Okay.
The Luxurious Marble Circus, there's a big legacy piece that's attached to it.
Okay.
Which has various verticals, including fashion, including creativity, including feeding more mouths. Tsepo jeans is a big part of the fashion vertical in itself.
Sure.
We've got Feed More Mouths, where we've got partners like Holonati and other partners, where we actually when you're talking a big event like that, there's a lot of waste. And that food then gets distributed around that community and the communities in itself.
Amazing.
And then from a creative point of view, we've teamed up with AAA. So there's a young girl that was picked at the end of last year. She was a final year student in brand management, and she now is part of the team. It's her first year that she's been working on at Ashley. And so basically what we do is we teamed up with AAA, and we awarded an internship.
Sure.
I'd love to be able to award more over time. And, you know, in a few years, you've got 4 or 5 students that are actually part of the creative team and the delivery team and the execution team of the Marble Circus and the Family Fest.
And also you guys are creating jobs. I mean, when an event as big as this, I can imagine you've got so many vendors coming in, so many companies involved. You know, so you are creating jobs.
People that work, you know, when you look at 2,000 people, you've almost, on a 6,000-7,000 people attending, you've almost got one person, you know, one person to every 2 people that attend. And that's, you know, so the big part, the big thing for us long term is not necessarily gaining in size of what the festival actually becomes or what the circus becomes, but what it really does for the country. I'd love over time, like Tomorrowland, it's a big tourism property. It, you know, drives the tourism sector in many ways, the hospitality sector, the entertainment sector. You know, there's many different facets to it. And over time, that's the real groundswell for us that we can only benefit from as a country.
Amazing. Just in closing, you know, after the 2 successful years of the circus, what stood out for you? What is your one memorable moment that you can always look back and say, this is us, and we did this?
Look, year 1 for me was just seeing the fireworks at the end.
Yeah,
it was just a culmination of a lot of stress and a lot of risk, to be honest. Year 2, there was a moment that happened on the Sunday night, and it was about 10 p.m. I think it finishes about 10, 11 in the evening. And not one person left on the Sunday night, despite the fact that they had work the next day. You know, we still had 6,000 people on Sunday night attending the event. And I'll never forget, I think it was Skido that was on stage. And 4,000 people that were in front of the main stage were actually doing the exact same dance. And they were moving in the exact same direction. And everybody was looking in the same direction. Everyone had the same level of euphoria in their ways, in their eyes, and their energy. So the second year for me was just joy. It was absolute joy. And just standing back and saying, you know, a lot of people have said the last time they felt that kind of energy was when South Africa wins a Rugby World Cup.
Imagine.
Or the 2010 World Cup. Soccer.
And you guys did that in just one night, you know, after a whole day of food and music.
And that's the highest accolade I think you can get is when you are compared to a global event or a global, the success of a South African team. You know, nothing gets us more riled up and happy or sad than the Springboks when they win or lose. But that's what it felt like again. And if we can contain that and bottle that and take that into every year, I think we're on a winning recipe, and then take that, you know, across to other provinces in the country long term.
Yes. I wanted to ask you, will you ever consider moving it to other provinces? Because I can imagine there are people traveling from all across our country just to come and attend this. Will you then take it to them?
Yeah, we have to. I mean, I'd love us to do a Cape Town version of Luxurious Marble Circus. I think KZN, but I think we'll look at 2028 and 2029. It's not something we're going to rush because, you know, I think make Gauteng great again. Western Cape gets a lot, even KZN gets a lot because they're coastal cities. You know, so we very much focused on delivering and perfecting the property in Gauteng. You know, I find the audience a little more forgivable in some instances. Cape Townians can be quite difficult.
We chill to the side. We chill.
Yeah, so you know, here you can still grow and still perfect, but it will definitely move. Yeah,
amazing.
And I think long term, you know, there would be the opportunity for us to take a South African property international as well.
Yeah. I mean, fair if you're bringing international artists to the country. Sure. Besides the stress, the anxiety, what is one thing you're looking forward to with the both festivals?
Look, for the Family Fest, I just, you know, to see families smile and to see families really having quality time together, I would encourage, you know, every family to attend because it's going to be magical. And, you know, when you connect and you have quality time, I think you connect as a family.
Yeah.
You know, and if everybody is connecting, 6,000-7,000 people, is just a huge amount of energy. That's a level of positivity that I think the world needs. Yeah. Not necessarily our country. I think the world needs as much positivity as we can give it.
Especially with what is happening in the world right now. Yeah.
I tell you, for LMC this year, I'm looking forward to, I'm looking forward to some of the big acts that are coming, because we've never been reliant on a big act. We've always supported South African talent, and we'll always continue to do so. And, when you look at the stage of 40, 50, 60 meter size stage, any local talent would be really proud to perform on that. And they'll almost start to get a feeling of what it's like to feel international. So this year, I think the curation is just going to be elevated even more. I think I'm going to encourage people to dress up for the event. Fashion is a vertical we really want to dial up. I think we're going to be a lot more this year intentional about what people should wear, really coming as themselves and embracing their own expression of creativity and what makes people. So I think the entertainment's going to be incredible, the food is going to be incredible, the experience is going to be beyond anything that you could ever expect. So again, the energy, you have to come this year. The energy is going to be contagious in every possible way.
Sure. If you're looking for inspiration, look the part.
Okay, yeah.
Look the part. Oh, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank
you so much. And I wish you guys all the best.
Thank you.
It's great that you are coming back for more. It shows that South Africans, as much as there's so much happening in the country, we also like to have fun. And I think what you guys are doing, it's exactly that, bringing fun to people. Wish you all the best for the first edition of the Family Fest.
I want to make one passing point. South Africans, we all deserve something to look forward to.
Yes.
And I want every year someone to say, I'm looking forward to LMC this year. And I'm looking forward for kids to say, I'm looking forward to the Family Fest.
The Family Fest.
I don't think, we're at our best when we have something to look forward to. Remember what we were like as a country when we had 2010 to look forward to.
Yes.
Remember what we're like when we have the Rugby World Cup to look forward to. I want us, both of these properties need to sit on that level of excitement and intrigue every year, where that's the calendar dates, and that's what I'm going to work
Now we can look forward to 2 things in the year.
Yeah, 2 additional things.
Oh, amazing. All the best to you guys.
Thank you
for
for
coming.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.